I recently completed a campaign using a full team of clerics, and I thought it would be useful to share my top 10 spells. These are the spells I pretty much use in every single fight, making them the most valuable spells in my cleric's arsenal. Now, of course, there are situational spells that are super useful. However, I found these spells to be the ones that I just couldn't go without, no matter who I was fighting. Although there are some amazing subclass specific spells, I will only be including the spells that are available to all subclasses of clerics. I have ranked these spells and I'm going to share with you how I use them to be most effective. So let's get started. Number 10, Guardian of Faith. Guardian of Faith is available to your cleric at level 4. It summons a Guardian of Faith to your chosen location with a fixed 3-meter radius around it. When an enemy remains in striking range at the start of its turn, or if an enemy makes an attack on it or a nearby ally, it will use Strike of the Guardian, which will inflict 20 radiant damage to the enemy, or half that if the enemy succeeds a dexterity roll. It will also cause equal damage to itself, so it will eventually wear itself out and die. The best way to use the Guardian of Faith is to summon it near one of your allies engaged in close range combat. It will attack them every time the enemy attacks your ally, or you can position it near one of your long range casters or ranger to help protect them if the enemy gets too close. The Guardian of Faith is valid pretty much throughout the whole game and can be used to do massive damage to pretty much any enemy. Number 9, Planar Ally. Summon Planar Ally is a summoning spell that lets you choose between 3 summons: Diva, aka Angel, Cambion, aka a Devil, or a Jinn, aka Genie. Your cleric unlocks it at level 11. The summons are quite strong and quite useful, and obviously add an additional ally to your party to make use of. They are persistent until they are killed or until a long rest, so they are super helpful in fights. The Diva has 136 HP, the ability to fly. It also has a mace that does 9 to 42 damage, has Raffle Smite, Revivify, and Concussive Smash. The Cambion has 82 HP, can fly, has a spear that can do 5 to 14 damage, Fiendish Charm, Draining Kiss, and Razor Fire. And the Jinn, my personal favourite, has 161 HP, his attacks do 9 to 32 damage, has his own version of Misty Step called Shifting Sands, Thunderwave, and Drunken Inhale. He is also immune to a lightning damage, which is very handy in certain fights. Mass Cure Wounds. This is the first healing spell on the list, and is super handy if all your team are in a pickle, and you need to be healed, obviously. You can select up to 6 allies and heal them 3 to 24 healing plus your Wisdom or Charisma modifier. Now this one's pretty obvious on how you use it, but make use of this when your whole party are in need of healing. And select everyone plus additional allies you want to heal, and they will all receive healing. The only disadvantage with Mass Cure Wounds is that everyone needs to be in line of sight of you for it to work on them. That can be the big drawback between it being useful or not. Number 7, Mass Healing Word. This spell is a literal lifesaver. And the reason I have this ranked higher than Mass Cure Wounds, even though it only heals 1 to 4 plus your proficiency bonus, is because it is a bonus action and has a huge area of a range of effect and doesn't require you to have line of sight. This spell is super great if your whole party are knocked down. You can revive them all with a spell and still have an action. In fact, there are some fights where I'd use this spell on every single turn in the fight, just to keep everyone topped up on health. This spell can quite easily turn fights around. Number 6, Sanctuary. Now honestly, I slept on how good this spell was until late into my cleric playthrough. And that's probably due to the fact that there's not too many situations where you'd use Sanctuary on yourself instead of using a damage spell early on in the game. It's a bonus action that allows you to target someone and protect them from being targeted. This is super useful for keeping people alive and also protecting people from breaking their concentration. Now, a couple things to keep in mind is that you can still be hurt if you're caught in an AoE spell, so you can still be damaged if that's the case. So make sure to keep whoever's under the Sanctuary away from the main fight if there's AoE spells getting around. Also, keep in mind that if you attack anyone while you're under Sanctuary, it will negate it and it will continue on. But it lasts for 10 turns, so take full advantage of it when you use it. So I mainly use this on anyone who's going to be a dedicated healer, or if anyone needed to keep a concentration spell active and not be affected, which works really well for our next spell, Beacon of Hope, number 5. Number 5 is another spell that I kind of slept on until late in the game. Beacon of Hope is a concentration spell that casts an AoE around its user that causes all healing to heal maximum hit points that it can. It also allows advantage on wisdom and death saving throws. Beacon of Hope is perfect if your cleric is a dedicated healer. When combined with Sanctuary, it allows you to focus on healing your party without the threat of taking damage from enemies. So not only do your spells have maximum effect, but your allies' own healing spells and potions also have maximum effect. Super, super helpful. On to the next one, number 4, Spirit Guardians. Now this is probably one of the best spells a cleric has access to, and would be number 1 if it wasn't a concentration spell. It summons a ring of either necrotic or divine spirits that damage all nearby enemies with either 3 to 24 radiant damage. Use this at the start of combat, and when anyone enters the ring, they will have to make a saving throw or take damage. Each turn they remain in the ring, they will also continue to take damage. It's great because once it's cast, you can move between multiple enemies and they will all have to make a saving roll or take damage. It's also perfect for large groups of weak enemies like goblins or rats. The damage it deals can easily one-shot goblins and a lot of weaker enemies, so they can find themselves being obliterated if they get too close. Number 3. Healing Word. Now, I know what you're thinking, this spell's a level 1 healing spell, why is it number 3? Well, that's because of how versatile and how early you get it. Just like Mass Healing Word, it's a bonus action with a large casting range, allowing you to heal or revive an ally from a distance, while still having an action to either attack or support. The fact that you get access to it at level 1 is great, and it stays useful pretty much until the end of the game. Pretty much I would use this every time someone would die. So good you can just cast it, revive someone back from the dead, and continue to have an action. Number 2, Spiritual Weapon. I use this in 100% all of my fights, and I didn't even up spellcast it. Your Cleric gets the spell at level 3, which is a great time to get it because it does enough damage to one-shot goblins. Having the spell active allows you to have an additional ally on the field, which can soak damage and also do damage. The only trouble is it does have short movement speed. However, you can summon at quite a large range, so don't be afraid to put it in the face of the enemy's casters or keep it close to your allies to help them do additional damage in close range combat. And number 1, I haven't said it yet, but you probably guessed, it's Guiding Bolt. This spell pretty much stays relevant all the way through from level 1. And easily becomes your go-to range spell, dealing 4 to 24 radiant damage and can do stupid damage, especially early game. The greatest thing is, on a hit, it allows the next attack on that target to attack with advantage, so it helps your whole party. And when I had a full party of clerics using this, it was amazing. Now these are obviously my pick of spells, and everyone may have different playstyles or preferences. But if you're someone who's new to Cleric, I hope you found this video helpful and insightful, and can help you take full advantage of the Clerics, because they are literally a force to be reckoned with. Let me know in the comment section if your preferred spells are any different to mine, or if you'd rank any differently, because I'm quite interested to see what everyone thinks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see my full Cleric team playthrough, you can watch it here. Thank you for watching.